Well, hello. This is Joseph, your host for Scenes from the Corner, the podcast of Cartwright Corner Urban Homestead. And today, I would like to talk about reconnecting. So 2020, it's been quite a year, right? And it seems like so much of the year has conspired against us to disconnect us from the things that have the most importance. It's interesting because even as I say that, in some ways it's also reconnected us to the things that have the most importance as well. So in some ways there's been the disconnect, but in some ways there's been the reconnect. Well, as I was just spending time in the quiet this morning, just thinking about processing through things that have value, the first thing that comes to my mind is that there is a need for reconnecting to the things that you've not really connected to fully in 2020 as we start looking ahead to a coming year. Maybe being intentional about reconnecting to some things that matter the most to you that you haven't yet done that. So let me give some examples. First, I thought about reconnecting to being fully present. You know, when you're with people, which is one of the primary connections that we have is to others, being fully present with the people that you're with, even if it's a total stranger, even if you're at the coffee shop getting a cup of coffee, talking to one of the employees, exchanging your card for the coffee. What if you were fully present with them and you were picking up on the body language, you were picking up on, their what they were saying and how they were feeling in the moment because you were just fully present with them? You might be able to say something that might change the trajectory of their day. Or what if, because you were fully present, you were able to say something that changed the trajectory of their whole life? Wow. Sometimes we lose track of thinking that way. So being fully present, reconnecting to being fully present, not distracted, not being pulled aside by busyness and devices and media and all of the things that get in the way of our mind and our heart focusing on what's right in front, and primarily that being people. Man, the disconnect robs us of a lot of richness of life. What about, for those of us in the homesteading community, what about reconnecting to the land in a special way? See, we are entering into the winter season, coming out of the fall, and I'm very grateful because Sarah and I are still connected to our piece of land because we are still pulling stuff out of the garden. We're still pulling out carrots. We're looking to do spinach. We have cabbage growing. We have things still going on in there that keep us connected to the dirt. But sometimes those of us that garden and do homesteading and that kind of thing, we get disconnected in the fall and the winter because that's the non-harvest time. It's the time to plan and to start thinking about the spring garden, which is the big garden time, right? Planting in the spring so you can have a summer harvest. And man, I can't wait for that to happen again. It's going to be so cool to be planting in the spring again for a summer harvest. But it's really neat to be able to pull stuff out of the garden still, even in this fall, moving into winter season. So staying connected to your land, I think, is important. It also helps us because we're constantly walking in our backyard throughout the day because we have our chickens. We're getting eggs out. We're feeding them, making sure their food and their water is taken care of. So at least it brings us out in the backyard to keep us connected to our land. So reconnecting to being fully present, reconnecting to the dirt, to the piece of land that you have. Also, I think in some ways, many people have reached out or desired to reconnect to God. See, we're moving into the Christmas season, and really the Christmas season is all about reconnection. See, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, literally thousands, Adam and Eve had connection with God the Father in the garden. And when they partook of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, they fell out of that intimate, close fellowship they had with God himself. And there was a separation that was put in, and it's called sin. And that sin separated in such a way to where they even had to leave the paradise of the garden and deal with the stresses of life, which they didn't have to do before. But Christmas is the coming of Jesus as a little baby, God wrapped in human flesh, to reconnect, to reconcile God to humans. And Jesus is the reconciler. Jesus is the one bringing God and man back together. So this Christmas season, as you're thinking about family and all of the things going on and being intentional about reconnecting, I would encourage you to reconnect first to God through Jesus, really understanding that Jesus came to reconnect, to reconcile us to God the Father. Now, Jesus said something. He said that no one comes to the Father unless they come through the Son, through Jesus. I am the way, the truth, and the life, Jesus said. No one comes to the Father except through me. You know, in this time where we've had a year where the disconnects have been a lot. People have lost jobs, so they've disconnected from that. People have lost family members, so they've disconnected from them. But take some time to really reconnect to the things that matter most to you. I know for me, in the busyness of things sometimes, that I disconnect from simplicity. Realistic simplicity is one of my three main values. But as life gets complicated and relationships get complicated and finances get complicated and that kind of stuff, sometimes I lose that connection to the core value of simplicity. And that's normal. But the important thing is am I coming back and am I revisiting that? So I really want to encourage us towards reconnection. Take some time to write down the things that have the most value and the most passion and the most precious connection for you, and reconnect to those things. Somebody within the sound of my voice right now really loves to paint or to write poetry or to draw or to knit and create. Do it. Reconnect. Get back into your art. Get back into that thing that just fires your heart up. For me, I love connecting with men in such a way to see them begin to walk in the fullness of all of their masculine strength. And then taking that strength and molding it in such a way to use it on behalf of serving, caring, loving, and protecting others. Well, I've reconnected to that. This last week, I sent out a text to the 13 guys that are in our group of men really encouraging them, pushing them forward in their masculine development. Continuing to look at my own heart and life and reconnecting to the masculine part of who I am, to be strong for my wife and for my children and my family, for my friends and my brothers in arms. It's something I'm passionate about, and I'm reconnecting to that because this year I've not focused on it much since about March, and it's kind of gone by the wayside. So what is it? What do you need to reconnect to? So, answer the question. And when you discover what those things are, make sure they're the things that have the genuine value. See, for me, the way that I find value in something, genuine value, is, first off, is it going to be something that after I pass away is going to live on after me? So I put very little stock in things, and I raise the stock in people. So my house, okay, I could make a grand and glorious house, which is anything but my desire. But I could leave a house that would be a legacy piece for those behind me. Well, it's important for them. I would do it for them, but just for the sake of leaving a house in and of itself, I don't care about that. You know, a list of accomplishments, that's wonderful. I would like to, at my funeral, have people rehearse what I did that had value and importance in caring for others. But I hope that it points to what had eternal value, something beyond my life, where I take with me when I go onto the other side into heaven. I take with me that which has ultimate value, that I laid up treasures in heaven and not just stored up things on the earth. Things are secondary. People are primary. Now that'll tweet. So the investment and the reconnection with people, I think, is so important. I'm really grateful for those that we're building relationships with in our homesteading community where we live. HEB Urban Homesteaders. Thank you, guys. You listen to these podcasts, you watch our videos, you give us feedback, but more importantly, you do life with us a little bit. And I look forward to connecting with many more of the people in our group and reconnecting deeper with those that we've lost track over the past month or two. So reconnect. That's your word for today. It's also good homework. Reconnect. Where you find yourself, connect with the present, connect with the people, and see where it goes from there. So that's my encouragement for you guys today, to reconnect. Let that be your watch word for today. Heck, make that the watch word for the rest of your life. Reconnect. Where you feel disconnected and disjointed, bring those things back together into a whole. Reconnect. Thank you guys for listening. This is Scenes from the Corner, and I'm Joseph, your friend in the journey.